get to this point when it's the finality of a season and the finale of a game. I know we'll recap this game and get into the moments, but the emotions of it are never easy. When you have to address your team and address seniors for the final time, just what you felt was most important to address with them here tonight in the heat of the moment once the season is over.
Well, I mean, there wasn't any game talk.
Yeah.
You know, it's one of those things where it's more of a lot of times throughout the season as coaches, you know, we try to remind them that we love them and their hard work is appreciated and not overlooked and all those things. And a lot of times, you know, that's probably one of the things that you wish you would tell them more throughout. And it's just one of those things where we just express the gratitude that we have for all the work that they put in. And, you know, I know people that are listening understand that athletes, they practice and they put in work and things like that. But I'm telling you, the amount of time that these guys put into extra work, school, practice, like we ask a ton. We ask a lot. And for the most part, they put in the work and they don't complain about it. And I'm sure there's times where we're asking them to do stuff that they don't want to do, but they just do it. And you don't win 37 games without having a bunch of people that just do the things that are necessary to win. And it's just a bitter taste in our mouth right now because it just didn't end on the way that we had hoped it to end. And but it still doesn't take away from my standpoint the effort and the work that they put in, because I'm behind the scenes with them. I see it, and I know what they've worked for. We're not satisfied with what happened at the end of our season, but again, that's not the time to talk about those things with the players because we know what they've done. You know, outside of a game setting, I know what those guys have done, and they worked extremely hard.
No doubt. Let's talk a little bit about this game before we just get back to your team as a whole and what you're going to look forward to as you head into the offseason. Felt, you know, one of the more critical junctures in the game was no doubt that second inning. You get the shutty, you get the bases loaded, there's one out. You know in that moment you kind of go through so many conversations where we've had throughout this year of, man, if you can get a run there, get two, you know he's going to be a hard arm to ultimately earn runs against. You get to the next inning, but, man, not getting any runs in that inning, that felt like one of the first critical junctures in the game because your team did such a good job in your scouting report to get those bases loaded with one out.
Yeah, I mean, it was one of those things where when you're facing one of the better pitchers in the league, it's like you kind of strike when the iron's hot. And, you know, we had our chances. I mean, I give our guys credit. I mean, we're there for it seemed like the first 9 outs that he got against us. I mean, there was traffic all over the place. And, you know, it was just one of those things where, you know, baseball is such a rewarding game, but, man, it's also such a frustrating game where you look at tonight, we drove probably 2 balls to the base of the warning track that their center fielder goes into the track and into the wall and catches. I don't know, from your standpoint, from the dugout, it looked like the guy actually robbed the home run, which was put 3 more runs on the board right there, which could have been a huge momentum swing. I mean, and, you know, they found like 3 jam jobs, you know, down the line over our second baseman's head. And, like, we didn't get any one of those, you know. And I know there's a lot of things you have to earn to get, but, you know, I think our offense earned some of those little bleeders, and we just didn't get any of those. And the Rockets that we hit, they ran them down. They rob a home run. And that's why, you know, you keep coming back to this game because it's so rewarding when you win and it's so frustrating when you lose, and it makes you want to come back and play again. And it's just, again, I hate that we lost, but I appreciate the guys for at least giving it. I mean, they laid it on the line.
It's not really fair for me to say this because it needs to be your words, not mine, but really proud of Alec Niggett, who, of course, had such a great start to this year, middle of it, coming back at that line drive off his throwing hand. I know it wasn't to where he wanted, But tonight, I thought he gave you his absolute best, and he just kept your team hanging around, and had a chance to get back into it.
He did, and honestly, it's the best outing that he's had probably over the last 4 or 5 weeks, which is nice for him to show up on a night like tonight where we really needed him to do it. And again, I mean, it was just a couple at bats here or there. Like if we get a ball to go to one of our guys, I mean, the game is totally different. But yeah, it's one of those things where you're kind of at a loss too as a coach right now, where it's just like, man, it seems like the season just started and it's over. It's how fast it goes by. So it's just one of those things. You wish you just could just slow it down a little bit, but every single year they go faster and faster.
Coach, I do want to ask you about some of your seniors, and I know first and foremost there's so many guys that you can go to and talk about. I hate to signal out anyone more than the other, but I think first and foremost just Matt Shark. I mean, I can go through all the records that he's broken this year. He'll finish tied for that top spot in career home runs. Just what he's meant to you. He's been a huge mainstay. You have seen him have to battle back through some of his darkest days to come back, and I know, again, the ending's not going to be the ending he wants, but he's going to look back with a lot of pride to see his name in that record book, and it's the teammate and the person he was that I know that you're going to remember, and his teammates are going to remember more than any of those records.
Yeah, I mean, I think you look at last season compared to this season, the impact that he has, right? I mean, you never know how one kid can impact the season, but when you take somebody out right after the beginning part of our season last year, we just couldn't fill that void. And, a lot of credit goes to him because he's the one that put in all the rehab. He put in all the time, the effort to come back from the surgery. And when you have a guy like him who's just such a leader, it's awesome to see a guy put the effort, because rehab is hard. I mean, as much as people think, oh, he just rehabbed from surgery, and like that is a lot of work. Plus, you got to practice and get everything right on the baseball side of it, and for him to come back and just have the season that he had is just such a cool thing for us to be able to just watch as coaches, just to see him develop like he did and play and have the season, and just extremely proud of him. And he's a large part of the reason why we were as successful as we were.
There will be a time where we can sit down and really hash this season and go through all of that. So I don't want to spend that last time here, but I do want to, just my last question to you is, what do you want your message to be in terms just to the fan base, to all the proud alums? I mean, I know how much, I see how you wear it, Coach Rhodes. You want that 1990 to go away and to get back to a regional. That is the standard that you guys work with all along to be a championship level program here. That won't change. Just what your message is to the fans of, one, their support, how they continue to be behind your program, but the things that you really liked about this year, but of course, no, they're going to be front of mind as you head into the off season and try to put this thing back together.
Yeah, I mean, I think 2020, that didn't necessarily count with getting the season canceled there. But, I can promise you there's nobody that it tears up any more than our coaches and myself. I would have never thought that 5 years now that we wouldn't have won the league, or, we won the league in 22, but in 5 years I never thought that we would have not won a conference tournament. And it's not easy. I mean, it's not. Just to say win a conference tournament, I know it's not easy, but my expectation, if you would have asked me back in 2020, whenever it was that I got hired here, by this time we would have won a conference tournament by now, and it's very disappointing that we haven't done it. And it's probably even more disappointing, honestly, that we've only been into the championship game one time, and you look at where we're at as a program right now, and we have to take a hard look at where we're at, and we've got to get more balanced. We've been very offensive over the last several years, and we've got to find a way to balance out our club. And, we still got to do the things that we want to do offensively. We got to get better defensively. We got to get better on the mound. And it all starts with recruiting. We got to recruit like nobody's business over this summer. The portal is going to be opening up soon, and it never stops. But the goal, there's going to be no satisfaction until we get into a regional. I mean, I love the 37 wins. It all is very nice. It's a good record. There's a bunch of teams in the country that would love to be sitting at 37-20 and done the things that we did. And I'm proud of that. I don't want to make it sound like I'm not happy with the season, but at the same time, it's very frustrating that we haven't broke into a regional at this point. And I feel like it's going to happen at any point. I really do. But if the fans are frustrated, I understand it, and I'm right there with them.
Coach, thanks not just for your time tonight, your time all year, throughout the week. You and your program do a great job in allowing us to have the access to tell your guys' story. Ends of the season are always tough on all of us. We appreciate you sharing a few moments with us, and we'll find time here over the next week or so to get together and do a full diagnosis, but I appreciate the time, Coach Rhodes. Thank you.
And I appreciate you too.
Yeah.
You do a lot for our program, and you know, there's a lot of family and friends that appreciate what you do. So thank you a lot for everything you do.
Absolutely. Thanks, Coach Rhodes. Yeah. Once again, that was head coach Lance Rhodes. Again.